Welcome back, my friends, to the American Hypnosis Wellness Institute. My name is Peter Elson and I'm the main instructor for our courses. Now, today we are going to talk about primary inductions. What are primary inductions and how do they differ, for example, from secondary inductions? Now, the word primary already indicates that there is more than one. So yes, indeed, we have a primary induction which we would use in our first hypnosis session, and then we have, for example, secondary inductions that we use not during our first session but during a second, third or fourth sessions and so on. So primary inductions is what is used when your client first comes to your office, and so we have to use a special kind of induction. Why? Because the client has never been hypnotized. And what we do during our first session is something interesting. It's sort of an anchor so that we can plant that anchor in the subconscious mind of the client during the primary induction. And then with that anchor, which we call a post-hypnotic suggestion, the client then during the second session, due to this implanted post-hypnotic suggestion, a sort of conditioning that they have experienced during the first session, while we did, for example, a primary induction, the client will go into hypnosis much faster and much more easy, and that's why we do not need, in that case, during the second, third, fourth, and so on sessions, we do not need the same elaborate primary induction. And so that's why we distinguish between a first session induction and a second, third, and so on session induction. Now, the primary induction, there are many kinds, okay? And so there is not one kind of primary induction. But during our foundations course, which we obviously hope you are going to take, during our primary induction training, during our foundations course, we start off with a classical induction, which we call the arm levitation or the arm raising induction. Now, why that? The arm raising induction is a very powerful induction because it will give us a lot of information. We generally use during the first session, in my practical experience, we do not use each and every time a different kind of induction. Why wouldn't we? Because I want to see, like a scientist, every time my client comes in and I do the same style of induction, is there a different kind of behavior? You see, if I do not test, if I have nothing to compare with, then how am I going to know that X person behavior differs from Y? And so when you do a similar strategic induction during the first session, and you can start to compare. And the more cases, the more clients you have, the more experience you have, and the more you will be able to read into the style, into the way people respond to your primary induction. So it's not accurate that you should have 500 styles of primary inductions under your belt before you are a good hypnotherapist. Now, it obviously helps to have more tools, which we of course would teach you, and we will teach you in both our foundations course and, for example, our separate rapid induction courses. And so there we teach you a lot of different skills for a lot of different scenarios. However, generally during a primary induction, when you really work whole day like I do with so many clients, I generally have as a default method one or two primary induction types. And I'm not going to change this with all my clients because, first of all, it would be very complicated for me. And secondly, I wouldn't learn as much because I want to use one primary induction and compare and see the behavior, because I can see suggestibility types in the way my client responds to my primary induction. Now, in a moment, we're going to show you an example of a primary induction, an arm raising induction, and you're going to see what happens during this induction. Now, when you follow our main course certification, we will show you different scenario with that same induction, because what you're going to see in this induction, which is a classical induction, that everything goes normally. The arm raises, the client goes into hypnosis, and everything goes well. But what if the arm won't raise? What if the arm raises this way, or just flat on the table, nothing happens? I need to know what to do, how to respond. Now, for now, I want to give you a few quick tips to get your juices flowing so that you understand what are the different scenarios. We're not going to fully go into it in this demo, but if, for example, the arm of the client would not levitate at all, does it mean that I need to panic, or that my arm raising is not working, or the person is not suitable for hypnosis? Now, that is absolutely not true, because really what we're not interested in is the arm levitation per se. You see, the way we use our words, because remember, a hypnotherapist uses words. Hypnosis technically is not some effect or not some shock, but it is establishing a communication with the subconscious mind of the client. So whether the arm really raises or not is secondary to the fact that I have started to communicate with the subconscious mind of my client. And so the arm may not be raising at all, and still I'm establishing a communication with the subconscious mind, and I can see in the eyes, in the way they move, in the way they start to breathe, whether they become a little pale, and all of this, these physiological responses indicate a state of hypnosis. So we are not really panicked whether the arm raises or not. It's not really all that relevant. When the arm won't raise, we have so many tricks to do what we need to do with this arm. And if you really want to know that, look at our foundations course, because we have gone through all the different scenarios. What happens when the arm moves in XYZ position or not move at all? So all these scenarios are there. For now, it's important for you to know that don't panic when the arm won't move in a way that it is shown in the videos, because like I said, what matters is the subconscious communication that you establish. Okay, that's what here today you need to understand. Hypnosis, and not many people will actually tell you that hypnosis is a communication with the subconscious mind of the client, and thereby in that communication we can start to affect change. We can try to get a responsiveness that normally I wouldn't be able to get with the conscious mind. The person may be blocked, or they may be self-sabotaging. They may not be able to do that without your facilitation. And so we are facilitators to establish this communication with the subconscious mind of the client for their benefit. Now, I'm going to show you now a classical example of an arm raising induction. And you sit up straight, okay? And your right hand on your right leg and your feet flat on the floor. Perfect. Now, can you do this when your elbow touching the table? Just touching your hand like that. That's right. Good. No pain anywhere?
No.
Okay, good. Now, what I would like you to do is take a good look at this left hand. Put it down on the table, from the wrist to the tip of your finger, and hold an image of this left hand. And when you have this image, right, close your eyes and hold that image inside. Good. Now in a moment you may start to notice some subtle physiological changes. The first one is that your breathing may have a tendency to slowly start to alter. Perhaps a deepening, a slowing down. And when you start to notice yourself breathing, just nod your head yes. Right, good. Now you may even notice that due to the dryness in the air, you may have a tendency to swallow. And when you notice that dryness in the air, just nod your head. That's right. Now you may also notice that behind the eyelids, the eyes having a tendency to move about a little bit. And when you notice that motion, just nod your head. That's right. Now you can feel your elbow on the table, right? Now you may even slowly start to notice that the left upper bicep muscle has a tendency to start to contract a little bit, just kind of like a cantilever wanting at the wrist, this left hand to slowly lift and rise off the table in little jerky motions. This left hand slowly becoming really, really light. Kind of wanting to lift and rise at the wrist in little jerky motions off the table, becoming so light. Lifting and rising higher and higher in little jerky motions, becoming so light. Just kind of like a feather wanting to lift and rise off the table. As if, Jenna, with every breath you take in, this left hand wants to be pulled off the table, becoming so light, just like a feather, lifting and rising higher and higher, so light. That's right, becoming lighter and lighter and lighter. Just imagine and visualize that at the same left wrist, at a string, I'm tying a very big, powerful helium balloon, which is further pulling and rising and lifting this left hand up into the blue sky, becoming so light. That's right, higher and higher, lifting and rising. And in contrast, you may start to notice the weight of your right hand on your right leg, and your feet on the floor, all the while this left hand even becoming more and more light. With every breath you take, lifting and rising higher and higher. That's right. So light. In little jerky motions, higher and higher, lifting and rising. That's right. This balloon just pulling up and up into the blue sky. As if somehow, Jenna, you're giving permission for this lightness to occur. That's right, lifting and rising, higher and higher, so light. That's right. That's right, lifting and rising, higher and higher. Now you may start to notice, Jenna, that this left hand at the wrist starts having a tendency to start to turn inwards with the palm directed towards the face. Slowly, slowly, very slowly starting to turn inwards as it continues to lift and rise higher and higher. So light with every breath you take. As if, Jenna, there is a magnetic force between the hand and the face. And in a moment, as and when you start to notice this hand touching your face, you're going to reach the peak of your suggestibility as it continues to move inward, closer and closer, very, very slowly, very, very slowly, lifting and rising, higher and higher. That's right, continuing to turn inwards. And when this hand eventually touches your face, you're going to reach the peak of your suggestibility. Closer and closer and closer. That's right. Lifting and rising higher and higher. The hand continuing to turn inwards. And when in a moment the hand touches the face, really, really slowly, you're reaching the peak of your suggestibility. And you may be wondering, Jenna, is it my hand moving towards my face, or is it my face starting to move to the hand? You know, coming closer and closer and closer. That's right. Lifting and rising higher and higher. This force becoming stronger between the hand and the face. Or is it the face and the hand? Closer and closer and closer. That's right. Becoming really, really, really strong now. Lifting and rising higher and higher. That's right. The hand moving towards the face. The hand moving towards the face, lifting and rising. That's right. That's right. and every time I suggest deep sleep for the purpose of hypnosis and with your permission. Entering to this depth or even deeper, and the physical body will relax. Now you may start to notice, Jenna, that with every continuing breath, this hand is getting more and more stuck to the face. That's right, leaning into it. That's right. As a matter of fact, it's getting so stuck that you can't remove it. You may try, but the harder you try, the more it is stuck to the face. That's right. That's right. And just relax. Just relax. Perfect. Perfect. Now, at this point, I tell my client that this was a good little test and that they can get up and get into the recliner. Now guys, I hope you enjoyed this video of the arm raising induction. Here everything went well. It was the arm, you see, went up normally. She went into a hypnotic state and everything went fine. Now I want to give you a complete different example now of a primary induction, because you undoubtedly have heard, and a lot of people are interested in hypnosis because of shock and rapid inductions. Something that you see all over the internet, something that you see on stage shows, during demonstrations. And a lot of people think that this is what hypnosis is all about. The shock, the rapid inductions, the spectacular deep sleep motions. But you know, remember that in a clinical setting, when I work with a client and I start to pull their arm and they fall over on my lap, that not everybody is going to be responding very positively to such an induction. So that's why we have a arm raising induction that really will do most of what I would like to achieve during my session. However, there are occasions when a rapid or shock inductions may be called for. Take the example of a dentist. A dentist doesn't have time to do lengthy rapid inductions. Now remember, the dentists were one of the first people in the United States to wholeheartedly embrace hypnosis. Why? Did you know that among dentists we find the highest suicide rate of all professions? Why? Because imagine staring into somebody's mouth all day and people are full of fear and anxiety. Now, osmosis is a reality. A frequency field is a reality. If you sit with clients that are really anxious all day, you think you are not going to be affected? You will, unless you do enormous amounts of shielding and enormous amount of meditation and sort of spiritual defense mechanism that you build up. But that's not for everybody. So, the dentist, they are the first people to adapt hypnosis for two purposes. One, to alleviate anxiety in clients, and two, to work with people that are allergic to anesthetic medicines. And so I have seen on so many videos, for example, root canals being performed with deep trance hypnosis. And so this is not something new. This is already done a lot, particularly in the United Kingdom. This is a huge business. So take the example of a dentist that would want to induce a quick induction with his client because the client is so anxious they just can't get into the chair, or there's a child. And so with the permission of the client, of course, always ask permission, right? We're not going to do hypnosis when there is no permission. We're not going to do a shock induction with somebody who doesn't know. Imagine the liability there. Working with children, for example, very dangerous. We never do that. We need to be certified and we need to get written permission from the client, right? And if it's an underage person, we need the permission of the parent. So mind you, cover yourself, don't do anything stupid with hypnosis because liability is an issue. That's why we need certification. Certification protects you because when you have certification and you are part of an organization like ours, for example, you're able to get insurance. And you want insurance when you work in the medical field. And so the dentist doesn't have a lot of time, and so if he would do, or he or she would do a 20-minute induction, he can't run his business, he will go bankrupt. So he needs something quick, and that's why, for example, dentists learn sometimes rapid inductions. Now, rapid inductions are of different kinds. We have shock inductions that are used a few seconds, or we have what we call rapid inductions, for example, Dave Ellman inductions that are 2-3 minutes. Okay? Now we have a separate course in rapid inductions that I really advise you to take, but only after doing our foundations course. It is very difficult to really understand the mechanisms of hypnosis without doing our foundations course, because there we will teach you all the workings of the subconscious mind, what to look out for, how to really understand the human behavior, right? So if you start to do these rapid inductions without a foundation, I personally would never have liked to work that way. I'm so glad that I went through my regular foundations training and then learn these techniques afterwards. Okay, so hypnosis is not just rapid inductions. You need to understand the whole realm of the subconscious first in order to carry the space with your client, how the mind works, traditional induction techniques, and then as alternative method we use shock or rapid inductions, which are obviously very spectacular and are wonderful for demonstration purposes on stage, parties, and just to show your skill. It's a great marketing tool. I always carry with me a bunch of cards. Wherever I am, I can pull off a few stunts here and there, hand out my cards, and this is great for business, right? So you're a business owner as well, when you want to work in the field of hypnosis. So now, I'm going to show you now a rapid induction, and I want you to look carefully and enjoy this demonstration. Okay, I'm here with Lowell and we're doing a confusion induction. Now this confusion induction is very effective, particularly with left brain dominant people. And the left brain dominant personality is the one who likes to control things, who likes numbers, figures, and it is highly confusing because there's a huge overload, and this will knock somebody into hypnosis right away. It's very effective. Now Lowell, the way this works, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, okay? And I'm going to count down from 50 down to 0. Now, as I count down at a particular number, I'm going to, for example, 47, I'm going to snap my fingers. And as I snap my fingers, you're going to open your eyes for just a second. And then you're going to count one number up. You're going to then say 48. And when you close your eyes immediately afterwards, you're going to say deep sleep. And you're going to feel it, okay? Okay. And this way we're going to count down to 0. Now you're going to find that you're never going to make it to 0. You're just going to find yourself automatically falling into this deep, relaxing hypnotic state, okay? And that's okay, just let it go. Okay. Alright? Now closing the eyes, and here we go, starting at 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 47, deep sleep, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, 43, deep sleep, 42, 41, 40, 39, 38, 39, deep sleep, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 35, deep sleep, 34, 33, 32, 31, 30, 31, deep sleep, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. That's right, just let it go, Lowell, and just kind of let yourself relax, okay? As you find yourself going deeper and deeper down, what I'm going to do is, see this top vertebrae here? I'm going to just touch this vertebrae here, and it's going to kind of relax your shoulders, and you're going to find yourself even falling more into a deep sleep, kind of letting this head roll forward in this really comfortable way, but in a way that your neck is really, really relaxed. Just let it all go. Kind of distressed, let it all fall out of these shoulders. That's right. And just let yourself go down deeper and deeper and deeper. That's right. Now this is a confusion induction. Very, very effective, very, very rapidly and very, very gently. Now guys, I hope you enjoyed this rapid induction. It is something that I always love to do because it's so much fun. And let's face it, most of us are attracted through hypnosis because of the incredible power of the mind, what we can do, And you know, I know so many of these techniques and I use them regularly, either on stage or sometimes even with clients and at parties if you can. But among the healers, you know, the healers among us, you may be a little bit intimidated by using rapid inductions, and you are correct, because like I said earlier, we make a distinction between you know, rapid induction for more left brain people and most of the people that you use an arm levitation with. Because to summarize, we use arm levitation with almost everybody. And a rapid induction, when would you use it? It is also a primary induction, mind you. You use that with people you have never seen, right? When you're on a stage or when you're doing a demonstration or even in a clinical setting and you have to use a form of rapid induction, it is still considered a primary induction. So you know, although technically you could perhaps use them in secondary sessions, but there is no need, because once you establish with the rapid induction a hypnotic state, then you still use a post-hypnotic suggestion and anchor to put in the subconscious mind of the client. And more about post-hypnotic suggestions in our foundations course. What is that exactly? And then the second session, you don't need to do a rapid induction. You can just do a secondary induction, which we will talk about in another video, okay? So we have primary induction, arm raising, we have primary induction, shock or rapid inductions. And this, for today, is enough to give you a little flavor of how we apply and when we apply primary inductions and what kinds of inductions are there. Thank you guys. Till next time.